They didn't construct the walls around you to keep you safe, they were meant to contain you. He grew up in silence, held back not by chains, but by boundaries others had drawn around him. Invisible lines that said, "Don't go too far, don't dream too big, stay where it's safe." And because he didn't want to disappoint anyone, he obeyed. The moment you stop playing the role they assigned you, they call it arrogance. But it wasn't arrogance, it was clarity. He began to see that the boundaries they placed weren't about protection, they were about control. And when someone else defines your limits, you'll never know the truth about your own strength. But deep inside, something was boiling. Not rage, not rebellion. Just the undeniable truth that he was meant for more. To fit inside their comfort zone, they encouraged him to shrink himself. But he was never made to be small. When he shared his struggles, they changed the subject. Consistently, through the doubt, through the noise, through the limits. While others laughed, he learned. While they watched, he worked. Every step he took in silence was another crack in the wall they tried to box him into. While the world scrolled, he sharpened. While others waited, he acted. Smash that leak button right now if you've ever felt held back. And make sure to subscribe to MindWisdom for weekly strength that doesn't scream but builds. Because sometimes one video is all it takes to trigger a revolution inside you. Because he knew something they didn't. True freedom isn't found outside the wall. It's found in the mindset that says the wall was never real to begin with. When he showed his scars, they looked away. So he stopped showing, stopped sharing, and instead started building. Alone, quietly, people questioned him, doubted him, tried to drag him back into the safe space they had chosen for him. But he kept going, not out of ego, but out of necessity. Because when your soul starts to wake up, no comfort zone can hold you anymore. But he began to realize that none of those fears had ever actually stopped him. What stopped him was waiting for approval. The more he grew, the more people fell away. But instead of mourning their absence, he thanked them. Because sometimes, losing people is just making room for your higher self to rise. He didn't argue with limits anymore. He simply outgrew them. And when you outgrow your boundaries, you become a force the world can't put back into a box. And once you stop waiting for someone to tell you it's okay to move, you start breaking boundaries without permission. He created IT in the cracks of broken limits and quiet rebellion, brick by brick, step by step. And when he looked back, he didn't see a path, he saw broken boundaries scattered behind him like shattered glass. Every one of them once felt impossible, until he crossed it. That's how you win. Not by being louder, but by being undeniable. He became obsessed not with being better than anyone else, but with becoming unrecognizable to the version of himself that once settled for less. Because true power is becoming who you were always meant to be without needing anyone else to see it. You were just waiting to realize you're already powerful enough to break through. Everything you need is already inside you. You don't need louder voices, you need deeper focus. It might liberate you. You don't need their permission, you need your decision. And you don't need to fit in. You were born to break out. Because he had learned that boundaries only hold power when you believe in them. And the moment you stop believing, they break. They crumble. They vanish. And standing in their place, you enchained, unbothered, unstoppable. Because there's something powerful about pain that's processed and silence it turns into fuel. He learned early that people get uncomfortable when you begin to grow beyond them. Pain is the fire that burns down false limits, and he had known pain. Deeply, he didn't talk about it much. What would be the point? No one really listens. Hit that like button right now and make sure you subscribe to MindWisdom. Make the decision to outgrow every limit they ever gave you. Every broken rule became a reminder that his life didn't belong to anyone but him. And that scared them. Not that because he was dangerous, but rather because he was uncontrollable. You know you're on the right path when your growth starts to make others uncomfortable. Fear protects the line between what is and what could be. Fear of judgment. Fear of failure. Fear of being misunderstood. You don't break boundaries by shouting, you break them by walking past them like they never existed. He didn't scream about his transformation, didn't post updates for likes, simply moved. Quietly, they tried to fence his destiny. But purpose doesn't care about fences. Started waking up early, training when no one was watching, studying when no one asked him to. If you're feeling this story, pause for a moment. Boundaries don't break with noise, they shatter under relentless pressure. He faced resistance. Every step forward was met with pushback. They say the most powerful storms are born in silence. So he trained his mind harder than his body. Every day he rewired old beliefs, placed fear with focus, doubt with discipline. They mocked the silence. But it was in that silence that he became untouchable. He didn't fight to be seen anymore. He fought to become solid, grounded, untamed. The loneliness that results from crossing boundaries is never discussed. But it's real. It's worth it. He walked alone for a long time. Not because he was rejected, but because he was redirected. He didn't need a spotlight. He needed space to grow in. He took it by force if he had to. He no longer asked for permission. He no longer begged for belief. Success didn't find him. It didn't rise overnight. It rose slowly. There is no greater revenge than living free inside a life no one thought you could create. He no longer flinched at doubt. No longer feared rejection. He was never too much. He was simply too free for people still trapped by their own limits. To those still struggling, still feeling caged, still battling invisible walls, you are not weak. And if this story struck something deep inside, you don't scroll past it. A community for those who are done asking, done apologizing, and ready to rise. The next video might not just motivate you. Welcome to MindWisdom, where silence is strength, and broken boundaries become your blueprint for greatness.